The GOAT! That's 5 kicks in the butt for you. Line it up, baby. We watched Waiting for this week's episode of...
Well, we'll just tell your mother that we ate it all.
Bad. My microphone was off, dude.
And also, you know, the content is bad.
Yeah, also, it's not very funny, and apparently it's shit.
I fucking love podcasting, dog.
I love it when people say the podcast is bad.
Yeah, I love when I'm on Caps at 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve and someone tells me my podcast is bad and they want to do a spot at my room. I love that.
And I'm just recovering from a brutal jerk-off video. Public humiliation.
All right, well, that settles what order we released the episode.
Yeah. And it was me. Like, you run the room too.
Like, the podcast is bad.
Yeah. Anyway, can I do a spot? Like, yeah, you can just write your name in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, you have access. I can't use the spreadsheet. Like,
I haven't got access.
how do you do it?
I've run out of phone battery.
Give me a spot.
Man, do you realize that, like, we completely abandoned format for the last episode? We didn't even do the introduction or anything.
Oh, yeah, we didn't at all.
Yeah. So
yeah, true.
maybe people just like it. Maybe
that's like 2 bonus episodes in a row.
Yeah, but this is like where we tip our hand into we're just becoming a hangout podcast like every single other one.
Yeah.
What if it was just comedians talk?
Yeah, I like that we've gone from the second most common comedy podcast premise to talk about movies to the most common. We're funny. It's like,
Next week,
No, well, also the last one was like basically like a kind of WTF style interview about a trauma that you suffered.
so now, I can't wait for next week's episode where all 3 of us investigate the Snowtown murders in a 6-part investigative series. We're like,
that would roll.
welcome to We'll Just Tell Your Mother We Ate It.
What would it, if we
the
were to
Snowtown murders were a grisly crime in Adelaide.
If we were to do an investigative
Near
podcast
Adelaide.
series, if we were to do our own...
Most of the grisly crimes committed in Adelaide were just Andy's hour.
Oh, come on, dog.
So you could do that. The Producers, a quiet little pub on the outskirts of the central of Adelaide.
I fucked a chick from Snowtown.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah.
Was she in a barrel?
Yeah, she was dead.
he put his body in her barrel.
Oh,
nice.
damn.
That's a very Hastings line of you there, Rose.
Yeah.
well,
she was cool, actually.
Isn't it horrible
She
when
was
you like
dope.
hang around with people for too long and they really rub off on you?
Yeah, isn't
Speaking of rubbing off on people,
it? Hell.
a certain video I heard of.
Yeah.
What crime would we investigate, are you saying?
I like that. Hold on, before we get into that, I like that we pretend we're like a cool and edgy podcast. We're basically like an FM radio, like today. Blah, 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 buddies in the barrel. Blah, 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 gotta fuck her. Like,
Dude, oh man, if I took 5 minutes to figure out how to get like a fart board going, and I showed up
This morning on Andy and the Rat.
Yeah,
And
but
I
I pitched it to you two. I was like, look what I've got. I bet you both would be like, let's do it.
Andy just actually farted.
I just leant
Did
over.
you really?
Yeah.
You gotta do it into the mic.
Nah.
Nah.
The
that's
wind
not-
guard doesn't.
Yeah, that's bad.
Oh, that smells.
Oh God.
I love podcasting.
Yeah, man. Somewhere where you could just be yourself, take your shirt off, fart in your friend's house.
No, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so okay, what would we investigate? What would be our 6-part investigation series?
Do you want like?
Doesn't have to be a crime.
It doesn't have to be a crime.
Just whatever you want. What are we investigating?
We could find Drago.
Like what's our what's our cereal?
Yeah, what's our serial? I reckon like if we did like an in-depth analysis of like why like a lot of people say Tom DeLonge was abducted by aliens, something around Tom DeLonge. and
Finding
aliens.
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, something about like what happened to Tom DeLonge? Like what went wrong with him? What's Scott Rayner up to these days? That's one.
Okay, I'm actually now interested. Like,
Maybe we should do this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna press pause while we're like, come on, guys, let's change the podcast.
Well, we've shared a few photos here and there recently with each other of like Tom DeLonge interacting on social media with various members of Blink-182.
Yeah,
but it's just
with the
Travis,
kind of like,
right?
Yeah, I
could
think so.
could this happen?
I think they're. I don't think they're
May-
on terrible terms
may-
this time.
You
Right?
don't think Mark
maybe-
and Tom are on terrible
I'm
terms?
sure it's frosty, but I don't think it's like last time where they hate each other.
I think maybe what's happened is now they've just fully decided that they're not going to play in a band anymore. They can be friendly again.
Yeah.
There's not any creative shit.
They got a lot of history.
But I wonder if at any point, because Skeeb is... There's writing an album now, I'm pretty sure. I'm recording. Like, I wonder if at any point Tom's just like, hey, man, if I could get on there, they'd probably let him, right? Like, for a track? Like,
yeah.
Even if it was like the Skeeber lineup, but like one track on the new album was like feat Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd probably blow.
Well,
the
there's like
F
an
up.
It was like Mark guested on a song on Boxcar Racer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
That, but like that apparently was like very frayed. Like they
Yeah,
gave that
yeah.
to him because he was really upset about
Well, that's
it.
what led to the initial
Yeah,
breakup.
what a little bitch.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'd be pretty upset
Imagine if me and
too.
Rose started a side podcast like, guys, can I get on?
Yeah, but what if me and Rose started a side podcast?
I would
If-
kill you both.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but you go from being like, what a little bitch to like you'd be on standing on the roof of this
I'll
apartment.
jump, I'll do it.
And we'll be like, come on, you can guest on the episode where we talk about Radiohead's In Rainbow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's it. It would be a Blink-182 based
Yeah.
investigation. Scott Rayner or what's Tom
What
DeLonge
about
up
this
to these
podcast
days?
for me and Rose? Radiohead and the Tramp, a comprehensive deep dive of Radiohead by a fan and someone that's never listened to it. So I'd be the Tramp.
So I'm out of the podcast because I kind of like Radiohead. Is that the deal? Because
Yeah.
I like one Radiohead album. I'm not included.
That's
Is that-
correct.
Oh, but what, is this
Walking
our
around
analyzed
like-
fish where you don't like Radiohead and I
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
like get you to
exactly.
like them?
Radiohead are cool.
I think I finally found my person to do my Metallica podcast with,
Who's
which
that?
is nice. Dean Podmore.
Ah, he'd be
And
very
I really
fun too.
do need to Dean Pod more.
Yeah.
I sold him a Viagra the other day.
Why you got to do him like that on the pod?
Because that's how I get done on the pod.
Man.
He did nothing to deserve
A
that.
6-episode investigation. I bet you, because I know that like maybe 10 years ago, Scott Rayner did an interview with AbsolutePunk.net where it was just kind of like, what are you doing now, dog? I reckon if we did a podcast like that.
Isn't he a bit like kind of Dave Mustaine, like a bit dirty about everything?
He didn't sound it in that interview. I think he was kind of like, nah, I went to college and shit, you know? But like, I reckon we could get him.
Because it was the same reason they kind of kicked him out for being a drunk.
Yeah, but we could Skype him in.
Yeah, we could Skype in the rain, dog.
We could get him to do a cameo intro.
Yeah, I think we could.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
I'd love that.
I'd think, but like, how deep do you think we have to investigate this stuff? Or it's just like, yeah, I read on Absolute Punk that.
Yeah, I guess maybe we've chosen easy. I think DeLonge would be an interesting one.
Yeah, no, I think both would be interesting, but how much work would you want to put into it? Because like already we seem to not be able to post on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
Or watch movies.
Well, I think I'm a pretty good online investigator. There was a certain sleazy podcast account that I did some deep diving into.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Would you say it gave you a sleisure?
Yeah. Keep it sleazy, fellas.
What other podcast could we?
Yeah. What other ideas for the pod? What other podcast tropes are there?
Yeah.
What else? You got
so
like
there's
true crime,
investigative
one.
journalism.
history.
we could do like
we could do history.
like a series of like Rogan-esque interviews.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
we're-
where we
we're-
all
but
Where we all
all-
just smoke DMT.
smoke DMT.
We're all Rogan on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get like
We do it live from the float tank.
yeah. We get fucking Ted Nugent to come on and make some dumb points about veganism.
The Nuge.
I
Yeah.
assume. Oh, music podcast.
The Motor City Madman.
Yeah, doc.
We could do a music podcast, obviously.
we kind of already did, and
Yeah.
I think we proved that we would not be
Yeah.
good at that.
Yeah, maybe we can't do a music podcast.
Oh, but also listen to my Metallica podcast when that comes out.
We could
It'll be better.
You do like a political one, like Citizen Radio, Jamie Kilstein's old podcast.
Yeah, cool.
You'd
one of
love
those,
that.
like a Chapo sort of style thing.
Yeah.
where
Andrew
we're just-
Hastings, go on Chapo.
yeah, that'd be sick, dog. I could make all my like weak points about socialism or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
And then we could just constantly be like, but didn't you send a video of you?
Character improv.
Yeah, character improv is good. We
Yeah.
can debut some of our famous characters that are too offensive to talk about on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Unwoke Smart Pete.
Yeah. Why not?
Which, to be fair, is just Smart Pete.
Smart Pete, but I'm doing a voice.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I say a few different words.
Ah.
Damn.
Yes.
Damn,
Smart
dog.
Pete's gone back to Barcelona with Sinterklaas now.
Yeah.
All right.
See you next
Yeah.
December.
Woke Smart Pete is writing a lot of blogs about like the state of Catalonia and the separation from Spain.
It's-
What that I can do that episode because years away. Presumably, we'll still be doing the podcast.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I'm
kill me.
gonna have to go get like facial surgery in Barcelona so I can go and investigate and find Spud Pete.
We
See
can-
what he's doing for the rest of the
Find
year.
Smart Pete.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it, man. One of my favorite things is because I'm I'm so unengaged with anything political, but occasionally I'll have 2 beers and decide I care about socialism or whatever. watching Jamie's eyes glaze over over the second I start talking.
Nah, dog. I was at yesterday. On
Do you mean Jamie, Australia's most incisive political comedian?
Yeah.
So, like, they don't even really understand what intersectionality. And Jamie's like, I don't. Oh my god, I don't.
Nah, you missed it. Yesterday, I had a couple beers. I was talking about AOC doing a dance.
I really like AOC.
Man,
and
she
her dancing.
is like.
And you would though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Woke smart, Pete. Stop saying those things about that serious politician.
You know, the congresswoman who got like the Anonymous released that thing of her dancing, and it was like
her.
Can you believe this slut dances?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
God.
a really like charming, funny video.
And like it backfired, but now like
she was like, yeah, cool, I dance.
have you seen it backfired? And it like did, because people were doing that for sure. But like Ben Shapiro is on Twitter being like, conservatives were never actually outraged about the dancing. We thought her insane tax policies, and you're like, there are so many tweets about the fucking dancing.
Well, the same argument is made on the left the other way around. Like people, like when Peter released that list or whatever, people were like, that's not what that no one was actually making that argument.
Yeah.
It was like one person, and then that was like attacked by, et cetera, et cetera. It's all propaganda. Anyway, I really like AOC though. I think she's quite charming, and I like her plan to tax the richest, whatever percent. By
and the video of her
70%.
dancing in Congress was great.
Yeah, I like that. I think she's great. I like that she talks like a real person.
Normally the videos of people in Congress just get sent to Tom Hall.
Yeah.
Damn. Work smart Pete. Work smart Pete. Changing brands to horny smart Pete.
It's good to laugh about it. I think that last step we did did me some good.
Comedy is therapy.
Yeah, it's cathartic.
Oh man, I reckon there's no phrase that makes me cringe more than comedy is therapy. As someone who does both comedy and therapy, they have nothing in common.
What about the phrase, just get up there and have fun with it?
Oh man, I love that phrase. You do have to have fun with it. They're not going to laugh if you're not having fun.
What about watch this?
Oh, I love that. Follow that?
Yeah, follow that's so fun. I used to do
my favorite one ever was Cam James told me that he was at a gig once, and like while he was being introduced, Jacques Barrett just leaned in behind him and goes, "Any requests?"
That's very good.
And then just went up and destroyed.
Yeah, that rules. Man, we should get Shark on the pod.
Yeah, he'd probably be good.
Yeah.
He's not doing much.
He'd do it if he's not on a cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that rules. It'd be cool if we had more. Is this a good sketch idea?
Yeah.
What if we had more like down to earth politicians in Australia?
You mean like more ochre chat?
Yeah, like that.
But that
The weakest premise.
no, but that exists in real life because they all try and come across.
Oh yeah, they're all like
as though like I'm fucking Dinky Di, and they're just like these
every prime minister we've had in the last 5 years has pretended to be a real person.
Yeah, and they're just privileged North Shore cunts.
Yeah, they eat their meat pies with knives and forks that they bought at Peters of Kensington.
Yeah.
At least like Malcolm Turnbull knew what he was. Like at least like,
but
I hate his politics and stuff.
He even still played it up a bit.
He did a bit, but not as bad as like the others.
Well, maybe
Tony Abbott was a huge.
Well, then maybe that's the bad sketch. It's just a bunch of politicians like going on TV talking about how rich they are. Like,
yeah.
In Kirribilli House.
Doing a speech in Parliament House like
I have more money than you.
like fucking Matt O'Kine doing stand-ups. I'm rich, bitch.
I'm gonna get a fight.
I live in fucking Vaucluse.
Yeah,
that rules.
Yeah, that's a sketch idea that's bad that we could do.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start doing exclusively bad sketches.
Yeah, video content.
Yeah, but every idea...
The key is we just try and make a good sketch, but it ends up bad.
Yeah.
So we say that we did that on purpose.
Yeah. What's like a real tired sketch trope we could do? Like a real Australian politics, like slib spill bullshit.
Oh, maybe like eating an onion.
Yeah. We did an eating an onion sketch in 2019.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Do a thing about like Julia Gillard having red pubes in 2019. I'd be like, yeah, man, got him.
Kevin 27.
Yeah, Quentin.
That's good.
That's good stuff, dog. Man, I remember Kevin 07.
What if it's
I voted for him.
What if it's...
I was 17. I wasn't allowed to. I got very drunk that night.
We could do Kevin 2019, and it's his crack team of marketing experts trying to figure out how to make it rhyme.
Yeah.
What we're saying is ABC, give us a shot.
Yeah, these are like
Kevin
genuine
2019.
Just sketches we're pitching.
Yeah, this is the Tonightly Writers Room. What if it was an onion? That's just but like for any sketch about that. It's like, what if Donald Trump ate an onion wall?
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member for Wentworth requests that you eat this onion.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Oh, man.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, but I did eat this onion.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this onion.
ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And by him, we mean a bag of onions.
It's one small step
evergreen
for man. I'm going to eat this onion.
Lock.
Ask not what you can do. Ask not what your country can do for you.
Just
But what you can do for this onion.
just a,
Lock her onion.
just a video of Hitler at the Nuremberg rallies. It's all in German, but underneath it's like, I will eat this onion.
He's doing the salute, but he's just holding an onion up.
What's the picture of Michelangelo? Did Michelangelo do it where it's like God touching
Yeah,
the
it's Sistine
human?
Chapel.
But in the
Part of
middle,
Sistine
yeah,
Chapel.
in the middle there's just an onion.
Creation of Adam.
Yeah. I
Creation of onion. Okay.
There you go.
I went to a wedding towards the end
Do
of
you take
December.
this onion?
But I went to a wedding towards the end of December, and it was like a church wedding. And there was just this weird moment where, like, because like a bunch of us there all went to like a Catholic school and whatnot, so we've all like done church, and there was this weird moment where like the priest asked everybody to like offer their hand
Oh, yeah, I've seen
towards.
that.
I've never seen, and it was so
I've
weird
seen
because
that.
it just looked like this fucking room
fucking
full of
wild.
white people doing the Hitler salute.
Yeah, when I was like 20, that
We
happened.
were sitting there like going like limp-wristed so that we couldn't
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
pouring a photograph. I was dabbing
That's sick.
You got a dab, dog.
because it just looked like I was getting ready to do it.
Okay, what about this? This is a summary of the last 3 years, all right? So it's Tony Tony Abbott. He's dabbing, but he's holding an onion and he's wearing speed dealers. And
That's how he eats the onion. Is he puts one out and then puts the onion in his mouth.
and
with
in
the other.
on the other hand, in the dab, he's got a fidget spinner. And
Yeah. But to make it even more of its time, it's Coney Abbott. And
yeah. He's wearing a pair of wheelies.
yeah.
get him. Man, I looked up what happened to Coney.
What did?
He's still around. He's lost his army, but he's still around.
Didn't that guy do an Andrew Hastings, like the guy who made the...
Yeah.
Is he going to do a comeback
He
to
like
us? soon?
smoked bath salts or some shit.
Yeah, but he jerked off in public.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But that was like he was like all. He was either on bath salts or having like a psychotic break or something.
Okay,
it was
great.
like it was the whole thing. Couldn't hack the fame, dog. Not like me. When I make the big time, I'm going to handle it with aplomb.
Welcome to We'll Just Tell Your Mother We Ate It All. A podcast about teen sex comedies and
onions.
Yeah, and occasionally other stuff. I've got to think of, I mean, you don't want to run it into the ground, but all I want to do now is Google historical quotes.
Yeah, and then put an onion in it.
Yeah, and do that for 55 minutes and then be like, the movie was pretty good.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Today we're discussing the movie Waiting. ... Yes, Waiting is a 2005 American comedy film written and directed by Rob McKittrick in his directorial debut and starring Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris, and Justin Long. McKittrick wrote this screenplay while working as a waiter and aspiring to be Kevin Smith.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah, got his ass.
And presumably,
Coming
whilst,
for you, McKittrick.
Yeah.
and presumably whilst engaging in pedophilia.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah, wrote this movie while working as a waiter and watching Kevin Smith films at night.
Yeah. It's what do we personal history? Had everyone seen it before?
No,
I had seen it a bunch of times, and I think it was kind of around when I was in year 12, and we got very into the penis showing game.
Yeah, I've heard. We were talking to previous guest Charlie McCann, who was like, "Yeah, in high school we all did the penis showing."
We did it rampantly. It really ramped up for the first time when we were on our year 12 camp, and we would tell other guys. So it's just
other guys transphobe.
It's just Well, I was
get it. Just keep
I was
talking.
in the boys' room at that time.
Nice.
We would tell other people with penises to come into our room to check out this thing, and then would just pull a blanket down, and like someone would be doing the bat wing.
Yeah.
And then people who'd never seen the movie would just have to turn around while you kicked them in the ass. We did it to the point where we came up with more things than are in the movie.
Such as?
We had the Joey. Which was
It's where your penis looks like Joey Tribbiani.
no, it was.
Hey, how you doing?
It was you pulled your scrotum up and then just had like a little bit of penis hanging out the top of the pouch.
Yeah, that's cute.
That's called the hairy back tortoise in puppetry.
Right. Yeah.
Technical advice.
Well,
Andrew Hastings.
depending on whether or not you've shaved.
True.
There was
encouraged not to.
the other
Really?
just your balls. Like you can do whatever you want. With
the other version of that one was that you fully tucked it in, and it was called the Jamaican breakfast for some reason.
That's called Ayers Rock or Uluru, depending on how woke you are in puppetry of the penis.
Yeah.
That would be such a.
you have to put like a toothpick with a little sign on it that says "Do not climb."
Yeah. When I do puppetry and I do Uluru, I genuinely get a little uncomfortable every time. I like have to tell them what it's called. I'm like, I don't. And one time someone was like, "Ooh, I don't know if that's."
That would be the greatest puppetry heckle if you're like, it's Ayers Rock, and they're like, Uluru.
Well, we call it Uluru now, but I'm still uncomfortable. Like, it's a sacred site or whatever, and I'm like, it's my nutsack. Like, that's pretty unchill, but whatever. I do it for the money.
Like it became rampant to the point where you would just suddenly like be struck with like inspiration. I remember we were camping in the national park once, and we were playing cricket or something like that, and the ball kind of went into this little ditch thing near there, and I ran over to get the ball, and as I'm reaching for the ball, I've gone, hang on. So pulled the brain out and gone like, hey everyone, I found it, and then turned around and then got to kick like 6 other people in the ass twice.
That's pretty good.
Did you call them a slur while you did it, as per the movie?
I don't know that we always did that. Because at that
Sounds
point,
like they did.
Maybe that should be the investigative deep dive. Did Rose use homophobic language when most people did in the early 2000s?
It certainly happened, but I think it fell away. It became more about the kicks. But like people would commit to it on an insane level. Like my friend, who we won't name, but is a well-respected journalist.
Time forward.
But we had like put all our bunk beds together for some weird like photo op or whatever on that camp, and then me and another friend were sitting on the top, and he was just talking to us like underneath, like basically in a little cave, and we'd been talking for about 45 minutes, and then I just looked down through the little gap, and he was just on all fours doing the goat.
Just been waiting for 45 minutes.
He was just waiting for someone to walk in and see it. I was like, have you been like that the whole time? He was like, yep. Just having this regular conversation with his dick and balls tucked between his legs at the back.
I'd never seen the movie or even heard of it, but, and this has already been alluded to, all the penis tricks have different... Oh, no, they don't have different names. All those tricks that are listed in the movie are puppetry, the penis tricks. Most of them with different names.
You even do the goat?
The goat's called the bulldog.
Oh, right.
The only one that has the same name is the brain. That's still called the brain. But the batwing is called the... what do you call it? Parasailing.
Oh, right.
They both kind of make
Not
sense.
parasailing.
Yeah.
Windsurfing. Sorry, windsurfing.
Right.
Yeah, and you go sideways and you lean back and you go...
Lean back.
You actually lean back and get the batwing thing going. Oh, sorry, you get the batwing thing going.
Yeah, you got to talk into the mic.
And you got to like pretend you're
Instead of
actually
pretending
surfing.
the mic is your penis, you gotta talk into the mic.
Fuck, I love pretending my mic is a penis. That's the best part about being a comedian.
Jamie's giggling and saying it's pretty funny while he holds the microphone next to his penis.
Jamie, I'll take a photo.
Oh, God. Oh, you're enjoying this far too much.
This is great.
This is terrible content.
Pretty good content.
That's great content. I love it. Yeah, I've never seen it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was like a fine movie. But it was like pretty good, in fact. I'd go as far as say it was pretty good.
But yeah, the homophobia does not hold up well at all.
The pedophilia does not hold up well at all either.
Well, none of the
I
philias
thought it
in
was
there.
illegal to be a pedophile in 2005. Am I wrong about this?
Yeah.
It's like, I could have been fucking... I mean, when 2005, I was 19, but to know I could have slept with a sweet 14-year-old and no one would have cared. In fact, my buddy Deadpool would have endorsed it.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's also like,
There was like a girl in year 9 who was 14 with huge titties, and like even the guys who
why are you putting this on record?
No. But I'm not saying that there are guys who like graduated school and who would come back and be like, so what's up with the
that's
Azrael?
That's so
so
funny.
yuck.
And you'd be like,
How old were you?
I would have been like 17.
Yeah, I mean that's still gross, but fine, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not the
I mean, we're all in school together.
Yeah, that's
Like-
true.
That's not a good argument at all. Because I could go, like, I was in a K to 12 school.
Yeah.
We're all in school together.
yeah. I know her from school.
Like who is supposed to be the hero of this movie?
I think it's Justin.
Justin
Long.
Long.
Yeah,
it's
'cause-
Justin Long's arc.
because Ryan Reynolds is deeply upsetting.
Well, what's his name? It's so the hero's arc is Justin Long's.
Yep.
But Ryan Reynolds gets more dialogue and screen time.
Yeah. But Ryan Reynolds doesn't have an arc.
No, not at all.
No.
It's just that he...
His arc is that what you said before, that like he is a pedophile and then has a moment of clarity where he does not act on this pedophilia,
But we don't know
But-
how he got there.
but then still tells her to tell everyone that he's a pedophile.
He says to the 17-year-old, if anyone asks, you say we fucked, which means that his reputation as like the cool guy of the restaurant
Yeah.
rests on the fact that all his friends think he's an active pedophile.
It wasn't just him either, because like those girls who I feel like it must be said, just very not attractive. In the
schoolgirls.
the like schoolgirls who like somehow go to this party,
Yeah.
and the nervous guy who can't piss is like, I'm gonna go and talk to them, and they're like, hey, good for you, man.
Yeah,
Oof.
and Anna Faris at one point recommends that the P guy goes and talk. She's like, you should hook up with a high school girl.
Yeah.
And I think like it's implied that these people are around 22, 23.
Yeah.
Right? Because like...
Well, I think Ryan Reynolds is supposed to be a couple years older.
No, I think Justin Long and Ryan Reynolds like went to school together, I think.
Okay, right. I thought Ryan Reynolds was supposed to be a couple years older than Justin Long just because he looks a bit older.
Maybe, but...
Yeah, but yeah.
My favorite is that like even when the movie... Because like the movie does not hold up like the woke test-wise, because like...
Oh, so far from it. Like busting in on what's his name?
Luis Guzman.
Louis
having
Guzman.
sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like that's awful, but the photo of him with the biggest
Yeah.
smile and thumbs
That
up
knows
is so funny.
knows he planned it. That's
Yeah.
like what Brett Kavanaugh based himself on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that smile is just so hard to hate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so big. and
But
just-
like my favorite thing that I wrote down, I only made like a couple of notes, but like even when they're because yeah, the whole game of the penis thing, like it would be so like fine and charming now if the fact was at the reward you did get to call someone a faggot and kick them in the ass.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And like
yeah.
when they kick them at the ass, they're like, yeah, you like it up there, and you're just
Yeah.
like, just do the dick showing thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like when they're explaining the game later on to the women, and Anna Faris kind of like does the woke take and says like it's just an exercise in like homophobia.
Yeah.
She uses this phrase. She says it's retarded homophobic futility. Which is like saying like if someone dropped the N-word in conversation, you'd be like, that is orientally Dago-ly racist.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we found the new name for the pod.
no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that stuff's all pretty wild.
It's weird because like sometimes they approach like being good with all that shit, like where they are laughing at Ryan Reynolds' character and says like, it's true, we laughed a lot at your expense, but then he still gets to like redeem himself
Yeah.
instead of just being
it's
like, no,
pretty
you
messy.
suck.
Well, it doesn't
It's-
even get to... I don't think it's like a redemption thing. It's just kind of shrugged off as beside the point. Like, oh, like you thought I was a bad rude. You guys laugh about it, but I'm still going to fuck this 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, it's not like a well-constructed screenplay. Like it's
Well, you
it's like
could-
a fun movie, but it's not like.
I mean,
And
you-
also, what,
it's pretty messy. Like,
women having each other's backs, why aren't they getting down there and being like, what are you fucking this old dude for? Don't
Yeah.
do that.
yeah, good point.
But I mean, they're not at all because, like we said earlier, Anna Faris like encourages one of the
Yeah,
guys to do
they're
it.
Yeah.
throwing each other under the bus.
I mean, the big thing with this movie is that it desperately wants to be Clerks.
Oh, so
Yeah, yeah.
badly.
And like, luckily for him, His first movie that he writes, it's a clear Clerks ripoff. When Kevin Smith did it, he had like fucking day players in a New Jersey theater that could not act for shit. This guy writes a worse movie that's like more offensive and upsetting in every way, but gets Ryan Reynolds, Justin Long, Anna Faris in
Dane
it.
Cook.
Yeah. Oh, also, did you know that the 17-year-old that Ryan Reynolds fucks is like came out like last year or the year before as gender fluid and like released like a full-on documentary
I've seen
about
her in other stuff.
like she's been in other stuff, but like
she's
right
very
now,
attractive. Sorry, they're very attractive.
Yeah, but right now they've got like a YouTube series where like they do like drag king shit. So she's
really
yeah.
Right.
So it's like that actress with like a mustache and stuff walking around as a dude. Like,
Damn.
I was like, oh, that's.
I could
pretty-
get into that.
I was like, it's so interesting because I was reading about it while the movie's on, while like Ryan Reynolds is essentially trying to date rape her, and you're just like,
Yeah. What I thought it did very well was, have you ever like worked at, you would have like when you went to Big W, Bottle Shop would have been like
Yeah,
Shitty
Bottle Shop
Jobs
was like
has
that.
that kind of culture. Like it really
I do,
Yeah.
It really nails the feel of that. Like
Yeah.
it reminded me of working at the bowling place and at Macca's a lot. Like
yeah.
Cole's a little bit too, but I wasn't a social.
I do think like he definitely got that stuff down. Like he definitely worked as a waiter at
And
chain
there
restaurants.
really is a culture of like managers and older dudes preying on underage women there. Like I've seen a lot of that
Yeah.
shit.
And,
Like,
like-
At McDonald's, almost certainly.
yeah.
And
Heaps,
as
heaps,
well, like,
heaps.
probably even like way more in 2005. But yeah, like a very bro-y, masculine, like anti-gay, like kind
Yeah.
of.
And it's
unable-
all like kind of like that kind of like deadbeat having cigarette breaks every
But that
20
was
minutes,
like
that kind of a.
the whole-
Chefs are always shitty people. If
Yeah.
any of them listen to this, I'm joking.
Yeah, well, it's like
Please don't
how
spit
like
in my food.
Anthony Bourdain first got celebrated for like he's a junkie and he's a complete prick to everyone, but isn't he lovable? And then he kind of like did a full thing where he's like, nah, I'm woke now and I just travel around the world and I'm dead, you know?
Yeah, I travel around the world and I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told the story about a time a manager assaulted me at Macca's.
No.
You definitely have to me, but not on the podcast.
It's a pretty funny story.
So this guy Brad Meany.
yeah.
No, so it was a common prank at Macca's to lock people in the freezer. We would do it all the
Yeah.
time. And this one time there was this manager who was trying to fuck this underage girl. So he probably would have been like, 20, 21.
Yeah.
She would have been 16, right?
It's just gross though, like even though they're like separated by a couple of years, just because he's in a position of power.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
much
was younger,
worse.
I was 15. I was actually younger than the girl.
Right.
Yeah. And she was very attractive. Everyone at
Was she
Macca's
into what this guy was putting down?
This is kind of, I think, what makes it a little problematic is like she like everyone sort of wanted her. She absolutely would not have been if he was her age.
Right.
But because like you could, even as a 15, I was like, I could see the power dynamic, and I was like, oh, that's like she's kind of like giving him way more time a day than she should be. He's older. He's got the better job. It was a bit fucked. Like it was a bit whatever.
Does happen. Like heaps of 16-year-olds in year 10, when I was in year 10, were like obsessed with the fact that they all had boyfriends
Who
in
were 20
university.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. But he was disgusting. Like he was a rank ass dude.
Yeah.
And I think like I don't think they ever like I don't know, but I know they made out a couple times. But I think he wanted her to date him and she wouldn't. Anyway,
What a loser.
one time they went into the freezer and it was one of those things where like he was like I think trying to be like, hey man, we gotta like talk about our shit, like we gotta like sort it through sort of thing.
Let's do it
And,
in
like,
this really uncomfortably
they,
cold
pulled
room.
her into the freezer. Well, it's like a cooler than a freezer, so like, you can stand there and talk. But yeah, so he pulled her into the fridge. Me and my friend Ashley, who was a bit older than. Well, she would have been 18 maybe. She was like, they're in there. One, that's fucking gross, but like to fuck with them, like to fuck with him mostly, let's lock him in the freezer. So like together we locked him in the freezer and he was in there for less than 4 minutes, I would say. He was in there for a couple of minutes and he's like banging on him. We're like, oh, not letting him out. Eventually she's like, all right, joke's over, we let him out. As soon as I let him out, he picks me up by the collar and throws me into a wall. And my biggest regret to this day is not suing McDonald's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a child and he was my manager.
What's the statute
Yeah.
of limitations on that?
And surely there would have been security footage of it as
There
well.
was, yeah, there absolutely would have been like and there were like multiple witnesses. Like it would have been so easy. And like he apologized 20 minutes later. I thought it was fine. And also like in my house, as a kid, I was like, oh well, I locked him in the freezer. Fair's fair.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And
my
I
boss.
I wasn't hurt, and it was like fine. I wasn't even really upset when it happened. I was like, oh, he overreacted. Whatever. He had a bit of an anger problem. He used to punch walls and shit. Anyway, he threw me into the fucking thing, and he started yelling at me. And then like he was like, "Well, that's a really fucking shitty thing to do." And I was like, "Why? We all do it to each other all the time." And then like 3 years later, I was like, oh, it's because he was in there with a child. Like it was,
Yeah.
it was like a terrible position for him to be locked into it. But he was freaking out, like, and so it's like that kind of culture. I think was like, pretty spot on in the
So
movie.
in the Ryan Reynolds version of that, once you like locked the fridge, he would like turn to the camera and wink at it.
yeah, exactly. I really like the kid from Freaks and Geeks. I can't remember his name.
John Francis Daly.
John Francis Daly. Him is like sort of the entry point into that world. I thought he like did a really good job. His freak out at the end, I thought was funny.
His performance is very good.
Yeah.
Of just the never being able to say anything.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was good. He's really good in Freaks and Geeks.
This
so
one,
that's not surprising.
this one is one because we've talked about Ryan Reynolds on this podcast before, not Robin Reynolds.
Yeah.
We've talked about Ryan Reynolds on this podcast before. For what movie?
Van Wilder.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And I believe we brought up a point where like people think Ryan Reynolds is charming, but he rides that very thin line between like charming and complete douchebag.
And very creepy as well.
This one careens straight into douchebag.
Oh yeah.
He was very unlikable in it. It's also he's basically just playing Van Wilder again. Like he hits that one note so fucking often.
He was typecast for a bit.
Yeah. Well, now he probably still is, except now it's Deadpool, and now he's doing Deadpool as Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that rules.
Like he's basically still doing Deadpool as a Pikachu.
So did you know at the very end of this movie, Kevin Smith is in the special thanks for making Clerks?
Really?
Really?
Yeah. So like
that's very telling.
it's so on the slate.
Did you watch the whole way to the end where they do the little
The rap
contraption?
video?
Oh, well, even after that.
No, what's after? Oh, that's the Rube Goldberg movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh, I thought, that went in Netflix in like the little screen at the top. I thought that was like a production company thing.
No, it's like, this like whole contraption they make at the end that just pulls a beer over and snaps the top off it and pours it into a glass.
Oh, that's sick.
It's actually quite cool.
That's pretty.
What do you think of David Koechner in this movie? Like, I thought he played like that kind of.
I really like him. I think he's great.
He plays that kind of character quite well.
Yeah, Todd Packer.
I also
basically.
think, Todd. He's great as Todd. I was actually rewatching some of the Todd Packer episodes the other day. But like Anchorman being great is like the most played out fucking idea ever. Anchorman is great, though. I think we can all agree. I think his character in it is like really not underrated, but like unsung. Like everyone always talks about how good Steve Carell and Paul Rudd and obviously Will Ferrell is in that, but I think he's fucking sick. That scene where like he's like he hits on the girl, so when they all have the run at Christina Applegate, and like he's scene where he goes, get a little naked, like that stuff's really funny. I think he's a great actor.
I always really enjoyed the line, "Have some chicken, maybe some sex."
Yeah. Have some chicken, maybe some sex. It's great
because that is my ideal evening.
Yeah. I mean,
I do miss chicken.
That's another one though, where like he's playing this guy and it's pretty funny, but also his arc is that he gets a slight comeuppance because he wants to fuck a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah,
he gets what Ryan Reynolds should also get.
Yeah, and he's much older, but his comeuppance is lame as shit too. He gets sent to that guy's house who complains. He just slams the door on him. Like nothing happens to him apart from like mild.
It's just that they still think you're a loser.
But also, it's mild embarrassment that happens to him. No one's there to see it or witness it, so he could just like come in the morning and be like, "Yeah, I never went to your fucking house. I realized it was inappropriate, dog."
In the scene where he's being like hell predatory on the 17-year-old girl, and she's like flirting back, and she has a thing when she's like giving a hand job to the thing. Is she supposed to be playing him, or is she into it?
No,
she's playing him because
right?
she gives him the address, which is the wrong address.
Right. Okay.
She's playing him as well. Kind of. It seems odd that because like she's doing it definitely with her own agency, but it seems like also Ryan Reynolds has instructed her to do this.
Yeah.
Like he's groomed her to groom him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I also thought Andy Milonakis and his other white boy rapper friend were insufferable in this movie.
I thought they were very funny.
Really?
I
thought
liked
they
them.
sucked, man.
I thought that they're supposed to suck. You're supposed to hate them.
I've never hugely got Andy Milonakis.
I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
The rap is kind of funny.
All the nitrous stuff I thought was like fun. I thought it was like reasonable.
Yeah, that's just because you can relate.
Yeah, that's just because you love doing nitrous.
It was quite sweet. This was night before last night. Me and Yvette both had different dates. And Yvette was with a bit of a fuckboy. It was Dave Henning's brother, and they were doing a bunch of nangs together. And like I came home from my date and like there was like balloons and empty nangs around everywhere, and I was like, oh whatever. And then she goes, oh by the way, I saved you a nang, and she like saved me one nang. And I thought that was quite sweet and romantic of her.
True love.
I know, yeah, I
God.
thought it was nice. She saved one for herself. We had
I hate your relationship.
It was like a nice moment. I thought
It's
it was quite
really
sweet.
like Bam's unholy union.
yeah.
That's perfect. That's what I.
Yeah, maybe I should see if I can find a copy of the DVD for that.
I would love to
video.
do Bam's Unholy Union for the pod. Let's do that around when I get married.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We should also track down a copy of Haggard because I swear that's probably aged terribly.
My mum would have that in a box at her house somewhere. I had it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what do we think about Justin Long? Kind of like a cool everyman or kind of a drip?
I thought he was kind of a drip, but I
Ye-
thought he was kind of supposed to be a little bit.
Yeah. But it
I
was
like Justin Long.
it was just really hard to like root for him heaps when he's just like ugh, the
I
whole
don't know,
time.
like this time watching it, I didn't find because we've kind of been deconstructing it and discussing it throughout the whole episode. But like when I first saw it, I think everyone's reaction is supposed to be Ryan Reynolds is the fucking man. But
Yeah.
like now, and like when I was 18, I was like a 22-year-old who just doesn't give a shit, who probably has posters up on his bedroom.
Yeah.
That's so cool. There's probably got like titties and shit. But now you're like, oh, Ryan Reynolds, dude, this guy's just like not found his place. No, I didn't find him as whiny as I used to find him.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
because as well,
that-
I lived
that-
through that period where you're just like meeting with your parents and stuff, and they're like, so like this.
My
guy's got
brother's
this,
learning
and
to be an astronaut.
yeah. Well, I mean,
and he's ripped.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you're
he's all jacked up
yeah.
now. It's horrible.
I mean, you're living that for the rest of your life. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
as well because weren't you like recently, maybe before this podcast has started or just during, were like very confidently being like, my brother's a fucking loser. He doesn't get girls or anything. He's
Yes.
yeah. And now he's ripped as shit. He's becoming
Yeah.
an astronaut. He's probably going to get hell pussy.
He's got a hot girlfriend.
Right. So he's usurped you.
He's still a loser. Like he's still like a fucking dork when you talk to him.
But you think
he still thinks I'm cool.
he's
Yeah,
gonna
that's troubling.
he might go to space.
yeah,
You
yeah.
go to Sweeney's.
When comedy's not on.
Yeah.
I like the pub.
It's
It's a good bar, man. I like it. Yeah, my astronaut brother. He's for context for the listener, over Christmas I saw him go swimming and he's all jacked now. It's fucked up. He goes to the gym like 4
Was
times
he quite-
a
Are
week.
you just trying to big dog him at the table like
No, he
any
was
way you
fat.
can? Just like, hey, kiss my astronaut.
Yeah, that's funny. He was fat growing up. He's still like got like would have a fairly high percentage of body fat on him, but like he's clearly got a lot of muscle under there now.
Do you think he could beat you up?
Easily. Well, because last 2 years ago, because he's been.
Have you created a wrestler based on your brother? Yeah.
I did for my dad once. I once made my dad in a UFC game. No, so a few years ago, he would have been bigger and stronger than me for a few years now. Like he's a big guy. He's bigger than me. When we went to Fiji a few years ago, my little sister was like, "You guys should wrestle and see who's tougher now."
Yeah.
and I was quietly confident because he's such.
Are we
a
talking
dork.
like Greco-Roman?
Yeah,
wrestling?
like just on the beach, just
like a little
just
boys
a bit
playing
of
around.
yeah. And I was quietly confident, even though he was stronger than me. I was like, he's such a dork. There's no way he knows what he's doing. And I out wrestled him quite comfortably, and even though he was stronger than me, this Christmas he just grabbed me and picked me up and threw me. There wasn't even a challenge. He was just clearly out to prove it. Like I don't know, he just grabbed me and fucking threw me down on my grandparents' bed. And I was like, oh fuck, he's strong. Like,
I would have loved to have seen that.
so like, yeah, he would kick the shit out of me now. He's like bigger than me too. I've got a couple of inches on him, but he's like twice my width. Like he's a big dude.
Do you have a couple inches on him where it matters most?
Ooh,
Shoe size.
we should find out.
Do you think? Yeah, dude, ask your brother to send a picture of his dick.
I reckon I would like fuck better than him.
Well, you've had a lot more practice.
I'm so glad, like,
You raised your eyebrow when you said that.
A lot more.
I'm so glad where that sentence went after I reckon I'd fuck.
Shit out of that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
He picked me up and threw me on grandma's bed.
My dumbass astronaut brother.
Oh, you know what? In the end, if you'd indulge in incest, I wouldn't be surprised.
Just one more feather to Andy's cap.
No.
I like how you have to be like, no, I don't fuck my brother.
Or any of my family members for that matter.
What did you think of Bishop, the wise sage character
I don't really like that trope in general.
of the wise black man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the magical Negro.
Because
as they call it.
you don't like black people being produced as having any wisdom.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I didn't vote for Obama.
Yeah, I was like, I don't buy it. No, I just don't. I thought Shy McBride played it real well, but I don't like. I don't like the idea that like in those menial job movies, there's always someone who like could fucking quote Descartes or something.
Yeah, it's
and
like go do something
But
else.
like, and because like most of the people in a fast food restaurant who can quote Descartes are more like predators who like just want to fuck, and their bedroom is like full of like Bukowski books.
I
and
think
stuff.
Charlie McCann is
someone-
that guy at his cafe that he works at. Like,
Really?
At the back,
Fuck
talking
boy
about like
McCann?
Trotsky. No. As in like he's like the sage older.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like he's quoting fucking
But I
Tolstoy
would
or
say
whatever.
I'd say the majority of like people quoting Descartes in a restaurant setting would be like, you know, fuck boys.
oh god. Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
at this party I went to last night described it as like going to a. Someone described it as that was just something Jamie said off mic. Someone described it as like going to a guy's house with he's got a bunch of books about feminism, but none of the spines are cracked.
Yeah. The only spine that's cracked is a copy of Scar Tissue.
Yeah.
It is.
I've never read any Bukowski.
I've never read any books.
Well, that's also true. But no, I've never read any Bukowski. But I was talking to my mum about it the other day. I was talking about how it's now like a trope of like a lame fuckboy is talking about Bukowski. And she's like, I totally get it. Bukowski guys are absolutely a thing. But some Bukowski is actually good. And my mum, it was Christmas Day, my mum read me a Bukowski poem. It was hilarious. It was really, really funny.
Oh, yeah.
It was about him in like driver's ed, and it was like really funny.
Yeah,
I like
like
that
that
everything that you make fun of, you just become like you like.
Yeah.
making
Oh, I'm going to
fun-
be into Bukowski in 2 weeks.
You're making fun of Fight Club guys, and you actually love it so much. You're making fun of the game, and you're like reading it on the train.
Yeah.
Like,
I just watched that movie, The End of the Tour, where Jason Segel plays David Foster
That's on my
Wallace.
list.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really affecting as well. And I was like, and my wife was saying, like, have you ever read Infinite Jest? And I was like, you don't want to be one of those guys. But like, then as the movie went on, I was like, Infinite Jest sounds pretty fucking sick.
It's over there. Read it. It's the best book I've ever read.
I may get like the ebook version so I can go with the footnotes.
Oh, I read it with two
Two
bookmarks because that was part of one of my stand-up shows I did. Was that like I got caught like flipping back to the footnote on the train, and a guy like shook his head at me, and he like must have thought I was cheating on like this huge choose your own adventure novel. Like, nah, you can't go back because you die on that page.
So you'd
You're
say-
done, bro.
You'd say Infinite Jest is your favorite. You say it's your favorite book, Rose?
Yeah, it was.
What's your favorite book?
was pretty
James?
good.
I really like In Cold Blood by Truman Capote.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
mine's probably I don't know.
The
do you want
game,
do you want
but-
do you want my actual answer or do you want my?
I want both now.
Yeah.
Alright, the actual
No,
answer.
no, you have to do Hollywood Squares joke answer first.
All right, joke answer 4. It's V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Right.
Real answer, it's Watchmen.
No, it's probably like this is so lame, but it's probably 1984.
Yeah, 1984 rules.
I really like it. It really like changed the way I thought about some stuff.
I'm more of a
Contemporary
fan
ways.
of 1985.
Man, what,
They had
what a
Springsteen,
fucking-
Madonna, way before Nirvana.
Man,
So
what a
also,
banger.
like, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, Nirvana's first studio album came out 3 years later. They're almost certainly like a
But
band
but
then.
Nevermind is what they're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I just think
Capote,
it's not
eh?
very well
Yeah,
researched.
I also really like The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon. That's great.
haven't read that.
It's good, man.
I like 1984. Watchmen would actually probably
Yeah,
be up
Watchmen-
there. It would actually would be up there
Well,
for me.
the Watchmen actually slaps.
It's
And Die Hard
fucking
is
so good.
actually a Christmas movie.
Watchmen actually does fucking rule though.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know, maybe like Catch 22.
that wouldn't be a bad
No,
one
I've
to
heard-
say is your
a lot of people
favorite.
have really recommended Catch 22 to me. I haven't.
Charlie McCann speaks very, very highly of it.
Fahrenheit 451.
I actually didn't like Fahrenheit 451 that
I've
much.
never read it.
It's like I thought it was like a lesser dystopian classic.
But dude, have you seen Fahrenheit 9/11?
Man, he did it. a
Didn't
guy
it?
who just completely missed the point of Fahrenheit 9/11.
Michael
It's like,
Moore.
Bush did it, dude.
Michael Moore did 9/11.
Fahrenheit 9/11.
Didn't Michael Moore just release a sequel to Fahrenheit 9? It was like Fahrenheit 11/9. It's about Trump, right? I'm pretty sure it just came out.
Really?
Like some dumb shit he
That
did.
sounds like a parody.
We've got to get Trump, guys.
The Orange Man.
I really liked Michael Moore's books when I was like 12.
Stupid White Men.
Yeah, Stupid White Men and Dude, Where's My Country? Were
Yeah,
the two.
I liked Al Franken's politics books as well.
I never read those.
Yeah.
Didn't he turn out to be a real grot?
Well, he just groped some women, so like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like Bart Simpson's Guide to Life. That would probably be
I love that book.
It was great, right?
I think I still have it.
The pages
Was that the
where-
green one?
Yeah, the green
and it
one.
shows Bart's dream room. I would look at that page for
God,
hours.
that was sick.
Hours and hours. Guys, write in if
Was
you
that
read
the first
Bart's-
time you jerked off?
Yeah,
Man,
no.
it even had like the thing like things girls do and
Yeah,
things
yeah, yeah.
boys
It had like
do.
Lisa's
Oh,
dream
man.
room and Bart's dream room.
Yeah,
and-
but it was like
Write
women-
in if you've read that book.
It was like women say things to have an impact and men throw things to have an impact.
Oh, it has
it's-
like margin.
Yeah.
It has like a home
there's like
improvement
a sexy
stuff.
part, right?
Women be shopping.
Yeah, there's like one page about. There's like
Yeah.
a couple pages about sex.
where like Homer's like dressed up in like and Marge has like that purple negligee on, I believe.
Ooh.
I think. That
Yeah,
might
no,
be
there
in
is.
that.
There's a chapter called
I also
Sex.
had like that Simpsons like the guide to Springfield. Like it was
The
like a
episode
travel-
guide?
No, I had that as well, but it was
I had
like
the episode guide. Yeah.
it was like the travel guide of Springfield.
Well, that is one of my favorite books I've ever read. It's over there. It's called Mulvania, and it's like it's by Tom Gleisner, Rob Sitch, and Santo Chilaro, and it's like a travel guide to
More
a
like
fake Eastern
Volvania.
European country. It's genuine. There is a joke like every sentence.
That's
It's
pretty-
so funny.
more like. Nah, I got nothing. I topped out at Volvania.
Okay.
I don't know. I should read more.
You should do it.
I am currently
not
reading about 80 pages into The Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
Yeah, I'm still on the game. I took a break over Christmas because I was playing video
I'm
games.
reading an oral history of The Wire
Oh, really?
because I read books and consume peak TV.
Can I borrow that after you?
It's an ebook, unfortunately.
Ah.
Dog. I don't know. Waiting was pretty good. I thought it was like a pretty good.
I think
movie.
at the end of the day, I would say I didn't really like it.
I liked it. I thought it was like pleasant.
Like
I
I
didn't
love it.
because I think there's like a very deep vein of unpleasantness. To
Yeah,
this movie.
it
sure, but as in for me to watch, I had a pleasant time.
We definitely
watching
have to watch Still Waiting, the Sum 41 music video.
Right, yes,
But
yes,
also,
of
like, the
course.
sequel...
the Sums.
Yeah, the sequel was written by Rob McKittrick, and apparently it's worse in every way.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, and it's much more mean-spirited. Even, like, Justin Long did a cameo in it, but then, like, told Rolling Stone that he found the whole thing offensive. And it's clear that, like, I was reading reviews of it, and, like, people talking about the DVD commentary for Still Wait. It's clear that this Rob McKittrick guy is kind of like a douchebag.
Yeah.
Like,
believe that.
apparently there's, like, a making-of featurette where he's just, like, behind this big poster of a camel toe.
Right.
Yeah, I would say like it ruined my memories of it.
But
a
like
bit.
at least Kevin Smith stuff doesn't hold up amazingly, but at least like a lot of it is much more charming than
Yeah.
Clerks is charming.
yeah. I don't think Clerks has any like
Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back does
it's
not hold up.
very homophobic.
It does not hold
yeah.
up. Even forgetting that though, like it's just not good.
Aren't they doing a sequel to
Yeah,
that?
Doing
they're
a
doing
reboot.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot. But Jay and Silent Bob like strikes back. The line "Hey baby, ever had your asshole eaten out by a fat man in an overcoat?" is still funny.
that is
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Very. It's what you're saying about Still Waiting though. Like, so rarely is a sequel better.
Yeah, and it's a direct-to-video sequel where Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris.
What
just
sequels are
won.
better? You got Empire Strikes Back.
Godfather 2.
Yeah, baby. Do I make you
maybe.
Randy?
Maybe actually, you might be right.
I think that is. I genuinely think that's better.
I think the first one's better than the second, but
Man, what about
A lot of people- I
A lot
haven't
of people say T2 is better than Terminator 1.
absolutely. I
But
Yeah.
like that's up for debate. But I
Yeah.
think it's a valid opinion.
people,
I still haven't seen them, but a lot of people say Godfather too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Godfather 2 definitely. People, this one is in the same school as.
How many podcasts do you think have had this discussion with all these same answers on it?
But do you think as hilariously?
All right,
No,
let's get
definitely
one hot
not.
take. If we can get one hot take, then it was all worthwhile.
Juice Bigelow, European Gigolo.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And also, we have to do that fucking movie on the podcast. I will. That is the hill I die on. I will defend that movie to the day I fucking die.
Here's a controversial opinion. Rocky 1 is technically a better movie, sure. Rocky 2, I enjoy watching more. I think it's more fun.
I've never seen any of the Rockies.
Nor
really
have
want
I.
to.
They're really good. Like the first two.
I only watch Sylvester
Some are good and
Stallone's
some are
comedies like Stop or My Mum Will Shoot.
Rocky's worth watching. Like, they're either fun or they're good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, modern day, a lot of people would say, like, Fast and the Furious became, like, fucking top tier action on, like, the
like
fourth
the
or
fourth one.
fifth. Yeah.
The fourth one, I think, is the one where it got.
I
good.
never saw past the second.
But the first one...
Or
but
maybe
the-
I didn't even see
I
the
watched the
second.
first one with The Rock for
very-
the first time.
oh,
It
right.
slaps.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
And
since
I hated the
second.
first one.
Yeah, I would say that WrestleMania 3 was better than WrestleMania 1.
I mean, video games, it kind of work. Like, video games...
Video games
sequels are
almost always the sequel's better.
Yeah,
I think Ocarina is better than Majora's Mask,
that's true.
but like only just.
But I mean, like, Breath of the Wild blows all...
Oh, Breath of the Wild is the best game I've ever played
Yeah.
in my life. Yeah. I don't know, man. We're kind of circling.
Yeah,
around
we're
the drain
flagging.
here.
Our second episode was probably better than the first.
Wait, which order do we do it in?
We're really going to release this one second, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I meant like just of the podcast.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, they're all shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you listening to this?
To quote this movie, it's like being the smartest person with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
That line really made me laugh.
I really just enjoyed that scene where for no reason he just picks out Dane Cook as the biggest piece of shit he's ever met.
But that's like a
That was funny.
Yeah.
Like, that also is kind of... When I thought that was like a Simpsons joke where fucking...
Yeah.
Oh,
Sanders,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
goes
It's
out
very
and-
similar to
yeah.
the Simpsons joke. Yeah, you're right.
You.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
ugly, hate-filled man, you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I may be ugly and hate-filled, but we're just quoting
you
the
just quoted the
Simpsons.
Simpsons, don't do that.
Which is
Yeah.
another brand of podcast.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. Come to Powerbomb Comedy, Papagetti's. What, UTS starting soon, maybe?
Yeah, it starts March.
we should start booking
Hang on, what date is this going to come out? Like,
in 2 weeks.
right...
Oh, in 10 days, really.
10 days.
10 days.
11 days.
Okay, so 2 days ago I emceed the lounge. You should have come to that. But I'm hosting.
I was on.
I'm hosting comedy-ish at Giant Dwarf. Come to that and
Oh, yeah, I
laugh,
should
so
think
I
about
don't look worse compared to all the better comedians who I have to bring onto stage.
Me and a young comedian called Andrew Hastings will be fresh off seeing Taking Back Sunday's 20th anniversary tour.
That's true. Very excited about that. I've got some stuff I can plug. Come to Cactus Juice on the 21st of January. I'm co-hosting. That'll be fun with Andrew Bensley. I'm just trying to think of shit that... It's maybe I'm thinking I should plug gigs more. Like, I think it'd be good if people... I'm emceeing Powerbomb on the 1st of February, and I'm emceeing the Lounge on 11th of February. That's the Comedy Lounge in Surrey Hills, if you
Cool.
want to come.
Well,
Big get for me, so come down.
I'm doing a run at Happy Endings on the 18th and 19th of February. Come down, tell your friends. It'll be sick.
Yes, and I, despite the rumors, I am actually a perfectly
Tell all your
competent MC.
Yeah. And also, Friday the 8th of February, if you want something in advance, it's the 100th Powerbomb.
Oh
Come to that.
yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. It'll probably sell upwards of 20 tickets. 10 of them will be using the 2-for-1 code. 4 of them will be freebies.
Yeah.
So to the 6 idiots that bought full price, I salute you.
Yeah.
Come to Powerbomb.
Yeah.
We should start. You know what we could do?
What?
This is an idea.
Oh,
discussed
also,
off-pod.
rest in peace, Wayward's comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Well,
Let's do a bonus episode. But what went wrong? An investigative deep dive into Wayward's comedy. We can get
idea.
Harold on.
It's an idea. I just had Jamie. What if we set up a permanent 2-for-1
But not me.
code for podcast listeners?
Oh, that'd work.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
But-
Only problem then is if it gets out as this is a permanent 2-for-1 code.
Well, no, you just change it based on
It's
the
just such a selfish decision on our behalf against the
yeah.
other
I
three.
think, no, you just, you
Like,
just
no,
change-
we want more people to listen.
You change it episode to episode, so we'll just be like, "Hey guys."
Then
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
sync up, like...
Yeah, we'd have to know what they're all going to be.
Oh yeah, but I create them.
Oh,
so-
no, because the episodes come out Thursday. We could just listen when it comes... You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got one day to
Or
do
you
it.
could put it in the show notes or something like that. Like-
Yeah.
But I think it's better if they hear it, and then you can make them stick around to the end to listen.
Mm.
Because then, even if they skip all the way to the end, that still counts as a listen to.
All right, we're going to start that. Let's start it right now.
Well, no, because I don't
We
want to.
don't know what it is yet.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to give away a 2-for-1 code for this show just yet.
Oh,
I think-
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
I think that we might sell out.
Stay tuned for that in future. We will probably be giving away 2-for-1 or free.
Also,
tickets
I
on the
did want
pod.
to get one point out about the movie that I forgot. Is that line about "Excuse me, but haven't I been inside you?" must have been so used so often by shitty dudes.
Oh,
Against
yeah.
people that was
God,
just
yeah.
like, oh. Ugh.
I would almost bet you he said it to the writer said it to a woman and was like, I've got to use that in the script.
Yeah,
I think I
yeah.
said it to someone, and I haven't even seen the movie.
Oh, that is gross.
And with that note, to the next step.
To the next ep.
I forgot we were doing that.
You're on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
Probably. What's that? Tom Orr. Hang on. We're starting again.
Welcome to We'll Just Tell Your Mother.
Oh yeah, we're doing the whole episode again.
Yeah, to the next step.
To the next step.
Reed Bukowski.